Welcome to Louisiana Heartbeats. I'm City Landry, and today we have with us Cherie Carlton again. We've actually done 2 shows prior to this one, and in part 1, this young lady had wanted to just, get out and make some pralines, innocent her, just to make a little extra money, and through the process, she learned a lot of what she could not do, what was legal, and what was not legal. And then on part 2, we had to continue on, which still had 13 pages of what she could not do and how to go about it. So today, she's going to briefly share with us, in this last episode, part 3, Homemade Treats, exactly how do you get it into a store. So, Cherie?
Well, one way.
Did I recap it good enough?
One. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah. We talked about the labels, and we talked about the hand cart laws, and then we talked about the cottage food laws, which is where we left off.
Talk louder.
I have to talk louder.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we talked about the 3 laws: the getting your labels, the hand cart laws, and the cottage food laws, and we went over all that. So you finally figure out which law you're going to get to use.
You did?
Okay, so no, I said if you decide.
Okay.
I still haven't decided.
Okay.
So you decide what law you're going to use, and you decide whether you're going to do a business license or not. Remember?
Okay.
Okay. So you get all that settled, and you get your license, or you get your cottage food license, or you get your hand cart, whatever you're going to do. Okay. So now you want to get it in the stores. You want to actually get your product in the store. Okay.
I am hoping everybody saw part 1, part 2, because if you didn't, you really need to.
This may not make a whole lot of sense. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do, because when you go into a store to present your product, now we're talking about food products here now, just to remind you. The store owners are already going to have their ideas of how they're going to sell. And there's 2 basic ways that they sell. Okay? So when you go in, you're going to have to already know how much it costs you to make your candy, or your pies, or your breads, or whatever. And that's when you do what's called a cost analysis.
Okay.
Okay? So to do a cost analysis, what you have to do is go through and list all your ingredients, all the stuff that you need to make it. Don't forget your napkins and your cleaning materials and all that stuff. That can all be calculated into the cost of your product.
Sure.
So you get all this and you get the cost of them. Okay? So what I did was, I got a 25-pound bag of sugar.
All right.
And I got 10 pounds of brown sugar, and I got my couple of gallons of half and half of my butter. And what I did was I calculated how many pralines I could make with that 25-pound bag of sugar.
Okay.
And how many pralines I could make with that 10 pounds of brown sugar. And did that with each product, each one. And that gives you how much it costs to make 1 praline per ingredient. Okay?
Yes.
Then you add that all up. And for your ingredients, that's how much it costs you to make 1.
Now, what about the size? Hello, you posted it. I want to know the answer.
I forget about it. Okay, I will get there.
Get there.
Let me get there. Let me meander my way there.
Just mosey on.
Okay, so, and because size is important, because if you say the size of your praline or whatever is going to be 3 ounces, but then you end up making 3.5 ounces, that's going to throw your ingredients off. And that's not how much it's going to cost you to make that product. Okay, so you've got to decide ahead of time what size your product's going to be.
Okay.
or how much weight it's going to have. And by goodness, don't say my product is 3 ounces and have 2.95 ounces.
Wow.
Now you can have 3.5 ounces, but don't have 2.95 ounces.
Not under.
Not under. You can go over all you want, but not under. Okay, so then you have the cost of your product for your food items. Then you need to calculate any licenses, insurance, cost of running a kitchen, if that's the way you've chosen to go. Anything that is overhead. Okay, you calculate that into a generalized average.
Right.
Okay, so that's how much it's going to cost you to make your praline. Okay.
This is just a later step of what she's already had to go through.
Yeah.
And she's not discouraged yet, so continue.
The weight, some products are easier than others. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. How do they get those, you buy the little cakes and stuff. I'm going to go buy about 20 of them and weigh them and see if they really all weigh what it says on the package. Because I haven't figured out how to get them all the same size and get them weighed the same. And that's one of the things that has stopped me is you pour in. I even posted it on posted it on Facebook.
Yes, you did. That's why I asked.
To ask, for ideas, and I got the idea, pour them on a scale and weigh them as you're pouring, which would work great for some things, but not pralines, because pralines set so quickly.
That's right.
And I'm only, I tried it. And I've only gotten like maybe a third of them poured before they're hard as rock in the pot.
I wouldn't want to be on a time schedule pouring pralines, that's for sure. What?
Especially if you want any. So that is a problem. And it's one that I have not come up with a solution for.
Somebody suggested a special machine.
Right. Well, I mean,
if you want to invest in it.
I'm a one-man operation here who just wants to sell a few pralines. I don't want to have a store. But anyway, yeah. So figure out how much it's going to cost you to make your product. That's your first step. Okay, what I would suggest you do after that is make some phone calls and find out who in your community or in your area, what stores are community friendly.
I like that, community friendly.
What stores are community friendly? In other words, what store is going to take your product that you make at home and put it on their shelves?
Right.
Okay. Not all stores will do that. Okay. Especially if they already have a bunch of something that's similar to what you're trying to put out.
That's right.
They don't want to put any more of that kind of stuff out. So you have to find out who's community friendly toward the product you want to put out. Okay?
Right.
That's simple enough to do in a phone call. Just get the phone with Walmart.
Face to face is better if you have the time.
Well, just to find out that piece of information, phone calls are fine.
You're right.
Because you're only looking for one piece of information.
You're right.
Okay, so you find out who's going to be community friendly toward you. What I suggest at that point, you can go 2 ways. And both are just as good as the other, I think. It's just depending on who you're running into. You can actually call the stores and ask to talk with the manager and set up an appointment. A business appointment.
Yeah, sure.
And you'd be surprised at how friendly people are to that.
You're very fortunate you live in Cajun land, because almost everyone here is friendly. But if you would go to an area where I'm from, and I will not say, it'd be hard to even get through the door with your product. I think it just has something to say about the people here.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
I love this area because of
I
food.
do.
That's why I've
That's
chosen
what
to
we're
stay
about
here.
here. Yeah,
That's why I've chosen to stay here.
great.
So you find out how much, you get your appointment with your manager or the owner of the store, or whoever you need to talk to. Then when you go to this appointment, please dress appropriately, because that's the first thing they're going to see. Is the way you're dressed, the way you present yourself. And if you go in looking, you know, you're not going to get very far.
Well groomed is the word.
Right. So you go in, but you go in with the bag in hand. You go in with the bag in hand, and in the bag you have samples of your product. And bring enough samples so that if the manager or the owner of the store proceeds to talk to you right there at the front counter, which I have had happen,
Okay.
there's enough that if he decides to turn around and start dishing it out to the cashiers and everything, there's enough for him to do that.
There you
And
go.
I have had that happen.
That's great.
I have had that happen, where the guy I was talking to proceeded to hand out to all the cashiers and everything,
That must
which
have
was
been
really
wonderful.
cool. It was
Yeah.
really, really cool. So when you go in with your bag, make sure you bring enough and present it.
Right.
I have this product. This is what I want to put out. I want to know if you'd be willing to consider. Don't even say willing to put it on the shelf. Willing to consider putting it on your shelf.
Right.
Have a sheet of paper that you can hand him that has basically a business letter
Right.
that gives a synopsis of what you've done, what your product is, your synopsis of your cost analysis, and what you can provide.
Even though you're going to be handing out samples, you actually going to share that information with that owner of the store of what it cost you to make this? Did I misunderstand?
Yes, ma'am, you share that with him.
What? Okay.
Okay? Because that's where he is going to base what he's going to charge you on.
Well, that is smart thinking. Of course, I haven't had a food product to learn that, I guess. Wow.
That's what he's going
Good
to base,
information.
what he charges, what he his tack on price.
And that shows him you know what you're talking about, too. Wow. Impression.
Yes.
Good presentation and impression. Okay.
Yes. So when you bring it in, you bring in your cover letter, your business letter that covers what your product is, what your cost analysis, a synopsis of your cost analysis, what you can provide. Say you want to remain small, and you'll say, okay, I would like to bring in 4 dozen pralines a week.
Okay. And
And if you could sell that many, that's how many I'd like to do, but I wouldn't like to do any more than that. Or I can provide 10 dozen a week, or whatever.
because you have to supply what you say you can.
Exactly.
Good impression, presentation, and delivering
Exactly.
the goods.
Exactly. And you want to sell your product. I mean, obviously, if you're going to go through all the trouble of doing this, you think you have a good product.
Right.
You want it to sell.
Right.
But if you don't make that first good impression, you're not going to sell it.
Right.
Okay? Another thing that they're going to be interested in is your packaging. So when you bring that in and present it to them, you're going to present it to them in the packaging that you are planning to sell it in.
They see what your total package and presentation is going to be in their store.
Right.
Okay.
And your packaging has to seal.
So it has to be sealed. Yes.
They're not going to want a packaging that
And
It's
we might
open
add,
anyway.
this is pralines we're talking about. This
For
one,
mine,
yeah.
mine. That's what I sell is pralines. Oh, what I'm trying to get on the market is pralines, I should
13
say.
pages later, we'll let you know.
So, go in with all this stuff ready, okay? Now, know that there's two ways well, there's three answers, basically, that the person can give you. One is no. We have similar things, we have
Right.
enough of that product, The second is yes, and there's two ways that they can make a deal with you. One is that they buy it from you
Okay, yeah,
at a set price.
okay,
Then they tack on their price and they sell it.
right, okay.
Okay. Which is generally, from everybody I've talked to, they generally don't start with that one.
No, not that I know of.
The other way that they do it is they sell by consignment.
The easiest door to open, to get in, yeah.
Is how they sell by consignment. That's when they say, you bring in this many, we'll put them on the shelves. If they sell, we'll give you the money. If not, you come pick your stuff up and take it off. Nobody loses.
That's it.
And they still tack on their percentage. Okay? So know that they're going to tack on anywhere from 10 to 30%.
Okay,
Okay? So if you want to make $1.50 per whatever, okay, and you want to sell it in stores, you know that they're going to up the price by 10 to 30%. So you need to add 15 to 45 cents
you really better have your homework done.
to the cost of your product before you walk in there.
And you've done your homework. If you're able to do that.
And this is the cost that you want to have figured into your cost analysis.
Oh, yeah, backing up from the beginning.
That's why I'm going back to that, to show you the importance of that cost analysis. And not just the cost of your materials.
That's it. Yeah, complete fact.
Everything. You want to factor in everything that you can into your cost analysis, so that when you present your final product and you present your price, you're making a profit that you deserve to be making, and that you're actually making a profit.
Yep. Okay. Now, so that everybody in the audience out there will really understand what's going on here, this young lady makes awesome pralines, and as we said in the first video, she just wanted to go and just, sell a few, to learn all these rules that anybody else out there would probably be very, very discouraged, and they would stop even trying to be able to get their product out on the market. But being the kind of person that Cherie is, not only was her journey challenging, but you actually have given us a lot of information. So, I know one thing for sure after sitting here and having a show of 1, show 2, and now show 3. I'll just go and find my stuff somewhere else, or I will bless the person who's going through everything that you're going through. Seriously, we want to get the wide shot on there, and let's just go ahead and finish talking about everything on widescreen. Honestly, what it's boiled down to is she learned rules that we break every day out here on the streets, and you might want to revamp over all of that because we have about 5 minutes left in the show.
It's just remember that if you're walking down the street and you've got a food product and you're selling it, or somebody has a food product and you're buying it, it's illegal. It is illegal to sell food products on the street under any condition. just walking down the
When
street.
she went into detail on that, like we have really gained more respect for the people out there selling their hot dogs for $3. Don't complain, because after 13 pages and 3 shows,
And the cost.
we
of
understand
getting
why they have to charge so much for their
and the cost
products.
of getting there.
cost, everything.
So please, just, be careful. I mean,
And that's what this show's about.
I'm not-
It's not so much about her and her selling her pralines, it's about what you have to go through. So you have to be really determined, learn the rules and the laws, and still it comes back to, you can still do it, but you just may do it in a different way than you started out to, right?
yeah, it's not impossible, no. It's very challenging. Like I told you, my friend from England, he said he opened businesses in 30 countries, and the United States was the hardest country in the world to open a small business in.
That's right.
And that's sad. That's really sad. But,
And that was on one of our shows. And also, that, of course, people out there trying to make a living, we would call it panhandling, some of it.
Right.
That felonies, anybody with a felony in all states, or something like
to get a hand card.
To get a hand card, cannot apply to get a hand card. That has to be pushed and not motorized.
Yeah.
And you actually have fees and licenses, depending on the spot where you're gonna park it. But then it's
My favorite part of the hand card
what's that?
is if you rent the space and you say, this is the space basically that I'm going to use, and if an event comes along, a festival or something, and their festival covers your spot, you don't have your spot anymore.
Even though they paid for it.
Even though you pay for it, you have to go to the festival and get the festival's license to continue to sit there during the festival time.
And then you have to apply to sit in the festival with them
Right.
and pay more money.
Right.
I have a.
I love that part. I just, that part just.
So that was what was so interesting to me, is that when a person is trying to do everything legal, and there's so many discouraging things that you have to go through, that really you have to believe in your product or you won't get anywhere.
No, right.
So have you given up on getting your product out there?
No, my sister,
Okay,
she finally got her order that she got from me, and she's like, "Oh, sure, they're so good." I said, "Yeah," and she says, "I can help you with doing it email."
Okay, which you
And
found
so-
out that is an area that is legal.
Some because
Don't cross whatever lines.
don't cross state lines
Okay.
with food products, selling food products across state lines, because that's a felony.
There's a way to get your
But
product
my
out there,
sister,
you have to
but my
learn.
sister knows how to do that, and she's going to teach me how
So,
to do that.
the whole point is though,
the
there
whole
is
thing
a
is-
way, you just have to choose the right way, the legal way.
the
and
way
that's what-
that works best for you.
Well, it's time to end the show, Cherie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
on our
you.
show. And we've had 3 shows, and we really started off with just someone trying to make a little extra money, to find out there were a lot of laws that she was even breaking one, just talking about it. Basically, what was legal, can't panhandle on the streets, we knew that. But who knew that you had to go through so many things to be able to try to sell your products. So tune in every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. It just might be you or Cherie. And this series has been on homemade treats. Her specialty is pralines, and she was just sharing with us her journey of how to go about learning how legally to get your product on the streets and in the stores. Tune in every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. It just might be you and your story that we are featuring. And stay tuned in the future, because I'm sure we'll have other stories to talk about with Cherie Carlton. I'm City Landry, and you are also watching AOC Louisiana Heartbeats. Thank you for being on the show.
Good night.